Okay, so the SU Cup progresses with a couple of alright episodes actually. I was a lot more interested in these ones than I was the previous couple, so that's good. A lot more stuff stood out to me about these couple more episodes than the previous two, so once again, that's good. We seem to be avoiding the indifference problem. I still don't really care that much, but at least there's a little bit more separating these two episodes for better or for worse, so let's talk about them. Alright, so episode 13 and 14 of the Shinemon arc, and a couple more episodes of the Esu Cup. Again, the tournament's going too fast. Again, we're skipping card fights. There's, for example, a card fight with Ruga Kaizu, that's it, not Kugaraizu. Jeez. I think I was looking at my notes there, and the way I do my R's and my K's look a little bit similar to each other, so I got the name swapped up. So it's Ruga Kaizu. Okay, yeah. The Ruga Kaizu versus Mark fight got skipped entirely. A significant portion of the other two card fights also got skipped, so that's not a great sign. But again, this all falls down to the problem of we have the Koshien and we have the Shinemon arc. One of these two should have been sacrificed so that the other one could have the right amount of screen time. I thought that them cutting down the length of the Dimensions arc so that they could do the Shinemon arc meant that they had a lot of faith in the Shinemon arc, but now they seem to be cutting the Shinemon arc short so that they can just get to the G reboot. So it's like, make up your mind, guys. Whenever we do get the next story arc of the anime, whether that is the G reboot or something entirely new or whatever, I really hope it gets given the time it needs. I'm not saying it needs to be dragged out over 50 full episodes or whatever. Like, I'm not saying that has to be the standard. I'm just saying give it the amount of time it needs, because I'm sick and tired of GZ being rushed so that we can get to the reboot being rushed so that we can get to the Shinemon arc, and now the Shinemon arc being rushed so that we can get to the G reboot. Stop rushing stuff. Just pick one and stick with it. Because the stuff you do well is actually pretty good and, would actually impact me harder if we actually just gave it the time it needed. I can't believe that the last story arc that had the amount of time it needed, no more, no less, was G Next. And that was like in 2017. So please. Okay, now I've got that out of the way. Let's actually talk about what happened in this episode. So a lot of the episode tried to acknowledge the disappointment of Gonomi's team losing. The episode actually starts with Fujinomi talking about how he really enjoyed his last card fight, even though it was the one that that disqualified the team from the tournament. And I'm like, wow, that's cool and all. Would have liked to have seen it. Yeah, the thing I said last time about this just being a second Koshien? Yeah, this is just a second Koshien, for better or for worse. They keep mentioning things, but refusing to show us. Show don't tell, that kind of thing. And then we get a scene with Gonomi feeling depressed and sad about losing the tournament and everything, but even more so, sad and depressed about the fact that she feels like she's being replaced by Asuka. Asuka has replaced her with Team Dragon's Vanity, and I'm like, that's a good point. And Gonomi goes to confront Asuka. Actually, no, that would have been too straightforward. Instead, what happens is Ryutaro starts card fighting Mark, and a bunch of animals crowd the stadium and start watching his card fight. And everyone rightly assumes that, oh shit, a bunch of wild animals, like actual bears and shit, have got in the stadium. Let's panic, because they're probably going to attack us. And so because of this, Asuka's panicking as well. And then Gonomi goes in to save her, manages to talk down this, I can't remember what it was some kind of cat. And hey, you got the cat connection. We actually set that up earlier. We know that Gonomi really likes cats. And so she calms down the cat, and Asuka manages to calm down. And it's at this moment that Gonomi finally talks to Asuka. Yeah, it would have been too straightforward to just go, Gonomi has a problem. She's gonna confront Asuka about it. No. We gotta have this stupid, silly, time-wasting scene about these wild animals, because we need to make Ryutaro quirky and memorable now that he's an actual competent villain, I guess. Remember when everyone said that their highest hope for the Shinemon arc was the fact that it would be grounded and realistic compared to the other Vanguard story arcs? Like people were really hoping, including myself, kind of, that this would just be a straightforward slice of life arc. The drama would be between the characters. There'd be no fantasy stuff. There'd be no anything like this. It would just be about a group of people who like playing CardFight Vanguard playing CardFight Vanguard with each other. And oh look, card capital's on the line, so we need to actually win these card fights. Oh, that's a cool idea for a story arc. Oh, Misaki's going through some trauma. This is all good stuff. And everyone simultaneously said, keep the fantasy stuff out of this. I didn't really again, I like the idea of having a story arc with no fantasy in it, but at the same time, seeing supernatural fantasy stuff in a story arc, if it's done well, isn't really going to disappoint me either. And it's funny how everyone went on for all that time about how they didn't want any fantasy supernatural stuff in there. They wanted to just be a grounded slice of life that focuses on the characters and their development. And we just have a scene of a bunch of animals crowding a stadium and it gets treated like a joke. God. Do Bushiroad even know why people like their anime? So we get that pointless scene, which again eats up time we could have actually used to see the card fight. In fact, they rub salt in the wound by basically cutting back to the Mark card fight and going, oh, they were still card fighting while this was all going on and you missed it. Yep, sorry, you missed it. You were too distracted by the animals and stuff. I wasn't distracted by the anime. It was the actual anime itself that was distracted by the wild animals and stuff. If the wild animal stuff was there and I still had the option to ignore it and just keep watching the card fight, I would have chose that. So you anime, you can't blame me for that. Okay, yeah. So Gonami approaches Asuka finally. I know I mentioned that a while ago, and it's taken me this time to actually get around to talking about what it is Gonami talks about with her, but that's the problem with this anime. It's very jumbled. It's like a juggling act. It's juggling so many balls in the air. You've got 9 different balls. Oh, Rive's worried about his wife and kids. Ruga Kaizu wants to fight Rive, and they used to have a card fight team of the two of them during the Vanguard Civil War or whatever. Oh, Gonami feels like she's being replaced. Oh, this and that. Just so many balls just all juggled in the air. And the anime just trips over, drops all of them, and the one it catches is wild animals flood the stadium because they're epic funny. Just juggle less balls. Just choose the 3 or 4 balls. I know this is a stupid analogy, but, bear with me here. Choose the 3 or 4 balls that you find most important and juggle those instead. Get rid of the other ones. I'm fine. Just choose the most interesting ones and do them well. So anyway, Gonami approaches Asuka and talks about how, hey, I feel that I'm being replaced and stuff. Why is that? And Asuka's like, oh my God, am I level with you, bro? Gonami, my bro, my dude, my broski, my sis, you have a crush on Shin. To anyone who hasn't seen the episode, you're probably thinking, what? But I make up no word of a lie. That is what actually happens. Gonami is like, I wanted to be the rival to Shin. I wanted to card fight him. I was Asuka's right-hand woman for the longest time. I was supposed to be the one to take down Card Capital. This is all mine. I feel so bad that someone else is just coming out of nowhere to take over my job for me. And Asuka, no word of a lie, replies to this with, you have a crush on Shin, and that's why. And I'm like, what? What is this anime doing? I've said this a lot recently, but what? That's it? This is bad for a lot of reasons. This reboot in its entirety hasn't really found much to do with the female characters other than giving them romantic interests. And this is just a repeat of the Karin and Misaki thing. Remember back in the Deleted arc where they didn't know what to do with Karin, and so they just threw a bunch of romantic interests at her for no reason? It's that again. I get that this is a problem with anime and Japanese media in general, of having female characters that they set up and build up and then do nothing with, and so just throw a bunch of romantic interests for them to fawn over. But I never saw a romantic thing between Gonami and Shin. Now, if there was, I wouldn't mind necessarily. If that's what they want to do, then that's what they want to do. But if you want to do it, do it correctly. Have some more slow-paced slice-of-life episodes where they hang out together even more, and you hint at it subtly. But the only interactions they've really had is Gonami fawning over his cat and being a friend to him. I agree. One of the more interesting parts of Gonami's character is the idea that she is now friends with Shin and is helping him out and everything, but I never saw anything romantic about that. So I don't know why Asuka's saying that. They don't even do the thing where Gonami like, you know, the anime shorthand, hey, when we don't want to actually bother to create a believable romance and everything, we could just have the characters blush around each other. Just, yeah, every time the characters in the same room as each other, they just all blush. Earlier in the reboot, every time there was literally any character near Aichi, they were just always constantly blushing because romance baiting, am I right? And they could have at least done that with Gonami, but they don't even bother doing that. So I don't get it. And maybe that's the point. Maybe we're supposed to think that Asuka is wrong here, but if that was the case, they would have, done more with it. They would have actually done something to hint to us that she's supposed to be wrong. Especially considering that, hey, the thing I said about the characters constantly blushing around each other? That's what Asuka does when she's around Shin. So is this legitimate rivalry between these two characters and Shin just become a love triangle? Because God, I really hope not. Especially when we know that neither of the two actually ends up with Shin anyway, so who gives a shit? Anyway, now that I've talked a bit too much about that, I guarantee when other people watched these two episodes, and that was the aspect of the episodes that everyone just forgot about the fastest and didn't really care about. But the Ryotaro fight isn't anything to write home about. It's fine. We don't see all of it, but we see enough of it to get invested, I guess. One thing that really rubs me the wrong way about that card fight too is that all of the characters, and when I say all of them, I mean all of them, they all note and comment about this special power that Ryotaro has. And I'm like, okay, I'm with you here. What special power does he have? His special power is that he has the ability to enjoy card fights. No, I'm not joking. This is a thing that all of the characters react to and comment upon as if it's a special thing and a thing that only he specifically can do. They're like, oh my god, he's enjoying himself. Oh my god, he's hyping up the crowd. Oh my god, even though he's beating his opponent's getting excited too. Oh my god, everyone's actually enjoying this. I'm like, what? This is a special thing to you? This is something that's worth commenting upon to this extent. Again, when I say everyone comments on this, I mean literally everyone. There is a scene where Tachibana said, we had so much fun watching you have fun. And I'm like, isn't that the point? Isn't that the point of the anime? Do they not realize this? Why did so many audience members show up to watch this tournament if in this universe watching card fights being fun isn't a given? I don't understand. And then immediately after we have all these scenes of characters talking about how much fun they had watching a card fight, you have Ruga Kaizu come in and destroy all of that immediately by being a boring character. At least Ryotaro's, I can kind of see why they did all that stuff with him to make him more memorable. But Ruga Kaizu is so boring. They did not do a single thing to make him more interesting. They gave him a backstory, but that backstory honestly benefited Rive more than it did Ruga. So basically Ruga just comes in with his growly voice that he always does, going, "Erg, I want a card fight Rive," and "Erg, I'm so serious," and "Erg." And we get this backstory about how the two of them used to be in a card fighting duo. The anime phrases it as a team, but it's just two of them, so it's a duo. There's a difference between a duo and a team. You have to have 3 or more to be a team, I feel like. Otherwise, you're just a duo, or a pair, or a couple, or just any of those things. And you got Ruga getting pissed off at Rive because Rive left the duo because he had a family. He mentions his wife, girlfriend, significant other, Chrono's mum, basically, being sick and her health not in the best place. So they decide to have a kid now because if they wait any longer, they might not get the chance to in future. And that's stupid? Question mark? See, I kind of like the idea, right? Because I know what they're going for. They're going for the soppy, sad story. And I actually kind of like it. The anime trying to be emotional. Wow, yeah, actually having the audience care about the characters, totally, I'm in favor of that. The execution's botched though. You know how I said I don't buy the relationship between Gonami and Shin? You know a relationship I do buy way more? The relationship between Ruger and Rive. Because genuinely this episode, Ruger does absolutely nothing but talk about how he always needs to be with Rive and he can't get over the fact that Rive left. And oh my god, bro, you left me for a girl, bro. How gay is that, bro? Oh my god, bro, why don't you just want to play card games with me, bro? And yeah, that's a relationship I can buy a lot more. Oh god, whether intentional or not, eh? But yeah, Rive leaves because his significant other, again, they don't call her a wife or a girlfriend or whatever, so I'm just gonna go with Chrono's mum because they don't really give us any information other than that yet. But she's sick, and so they decide to have a kid early because they don't know if they'll have the chance to in future if they don't now. And that's cool. Couples genuinely getting worried as to whether or not they can afford to have a kid for various reasons. That's a surprisingly grown-up issue to tackle. That's cool. And we don't know the nature of Chrono's mum's sickness, so I probably shouldn't comment on this, but I'm going to mention it anyway. Kind of rubs me the wrong way that Rive, immediately upon finding out that his significant other is sick, is like, haha, you're sick? Let's put you through the absolute worst 9 months of your life on top of you being sick. That will have no downsides at all. It certainly won't affect the baby. I don't know, that rubbed me the wrong way. But again, we don't know the nature of his mum's sickness, so I don't know. But it just feels like if you find out that your girlfriend or whatever is in some kind of health condition, maybe getting them pregnant isn't the smartest idea, but I mean, hey, the anime, to be fair, the anime itself doesn't really call Rive smart for doing this. If anything, Rive is constantly criticized for abandoning everything, so there's that. He doesn't learn from this because we know what ends up happening in G. And also another thing is, again, we never learn anything about Chrono's mum. Her being sick and the idea that she's in such a bad health state that she won't be able to grow up with her own son is treated as Rive's problem. You have no idea how angry that makes me, and it shouldn't. But the idea that this woman giving birth to a child and being so sick that she might not be able to raise him herself is being treated as Rive's problem. This is my problem. This is why I need to give up card fighting. This is my burden to bear. What makes it even worse is that we know that Rive doesn't even take it seriously because he ends up just abandoning his own kid anyway. I know this is probably done for dramatic irony, but man, I don't think this anime has ever made a character as hateable as Rive. Oh my god. Can't do that, anime. You cannot do all this stuff. And the worst part too is that during these scenes, you just have Mikuru looking sad and going, "Oh, Rive, that's such a shame, Rive. That's so sad, Rive." I'm like, bitch, it ends up becoming more of a problem for you than it does for him. Oh my god, how frustrating can this anime be, am I right? And I mean, hey, I guess I'll take frustration over indifference. At least that's something. Yeah, Rive ends up winning in the next round of the tournament, eh? Again, if you need my biggest problem with these episodes is just needing more time. This felt like kind of endgame stuff. And I don't mean endgame as in it felt like an Avengers thing. I mean endgame as in this feels like the events of this episode would have felt like it impacted me more if it was left till later. We needed more time. This felt like the last round or so of the tournament, which it was. And yet, we're only 2 or 3 episodes through the tournament. If this story arc was so important that you needed the time, then you could have just got rid of the Koshin and no one would have been any the wiser anyway. I mean, again, if it was up to me, I would have kept the Koshin and skipped the Shin arc. Controversial opinion, I know. At least make a choice here. I swear to god, if the next anime story arc ends up doing the same shit again, where it just skips itself so that we can just hurry up and get to the next story arc, it really doesn't fill you with confidence when the own anime doesn't seem to value its own, like, screen time. But yeah, so that's episode 13 and 14 of the Shinemon arc. I was gonna say it's getting better, it's getting more interesting, except it's not really, because I'm pretty sure the next episode is going to be Kenzaki versus Shin, and I can't think of a matchup I'd be any more indifferent towards. So yeah, I'll see you then with more Shinemon arc.